Good afternoon from Los Angeles. This is Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. Today we're going to take a look at three leaderboard stocks, SolarEdge, Lululemon, and Huya. But we're going to first take a look and see how the whole market shook out today. Hi, I'm Ed Carson, and joined today with David Chung, one of the markets editors here.
Hey Ed, it's good to see you. I just want to welcome the audience and let everyone know as many years I've worked with Ed, this is the first time to be on video together.
That's
so very
nice.
Excited about this session.
A lot of years here. Well, the major averages just sort of like they started off low, moved higher, and then ended up not going anywhere, to be honest. The Dow Jones closed a fraction higher. The S&P 500 was just below break even, and so was the Nasdaq. Really wasn't a whole lot of action today, and really we've had sort of sideways action for the past couple of weeks near record highs. So what do you make of today's action and the recent action we've seen?
It's a great question, Ed. I think having these kind of quieter days is something the market probably could use after many months of volatility. We're still in a confirmed uptrend that we identified back in August 13th. We noted a follow-through in the big picture, and all of the indexes have risen moderately since then.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things is that today we had some negative news out of Europe. Like it seemed like Germany is getting close to recession, but while investors need to be aware of that, what you really need to do is also be aware of how the market reacts to that. I mean, ultimately, because the market could have, reacted negatively to that, but it didn't. It held up fairly well. One thing that's holding up fairly well this week, and this actually the last several weeks, is solar stocks. I want to take a look at SolarEdge Technologies. This is one of several that have been really performing well. It's rebounding off the 10-week line last week, basically up to new highs, rose fractionally today. How would you take this stock?
Well, Ed, I think it's definitely one to focus on now amid a strong year so far for crude oil. Crude oil around $58 a barrel, up more than 25% year to date. That is incidental good news for solar companies for sure, in addition to the strong secular demand we're seeing for solar panels in general. And SolarEdge has excellent ratings. There's no question why it's on the IBD 50, ranked number 17. And if you look at a weekly chart of SolarEdge, this is an Israeli-based company that's relatively new. It's shown really bullish action after a test of the 10-week moving average. Therefore, it also has got a spot on Leaderboard.
Yeah, and we actually have seen this with SunPower and First Solar as well. I mean, they've rebounded off their 10-week lines. Those two stocks actually have actual bases. I mean, SolarEdge was a little bit shorter, so that's another opportunity in those stocks that they could break out from bases.
Great point, Ed. And also, just to add briefly to that, SolarEdge also produced a base earlier in the year. We just identified what's called a secondary buy point, which is a first or the second test of that 10-week moving average after the breakout.
Yeah. Well, another stock that's been moving out past the buy point was Huya. That is one of the live streaming firms. It's sort of like the Chinese version of Twitch, as a live streaming of games. Stock didn't do particularly well today, fell about 3%, but still held above a 26.48 double bottom buy point. So how is Huya doing? What should people be looking at here?
Well, my question to you first, Ed, is Huya Chinese for Twitch, or is it the other way around?
Twitch might have been founded first, but Huya probably has more followers given how many people are playing video games in China.
Absolutely. We've seen success, on a serious note, real success in this particular part of the industry from China. NetEase, NTES, not a leader right now, but a big winner, as well as Shanda Games way back in the mid-2000s after the market bottom back then. Huya maybe represents a new wave of strong growth companies in the very game-hungry market of China. And this stock clearly is volatile. It's still a small cap, but on the positive side, fantastic earnings per share and growth expected going forward. Huya, despite being a relatively small cap stock, and as you know, Ed, small caps have kind of under-delivered in recent months, this one actually ranks number 36 in the IBD 50. So it's, in other words, it's meeting very tough criteria for fundamentals, earnings and sales growth, technical price strength, as well as the quality of fund sponsorship.
Yeah. Now, Huya fell back today. A lot of Chinese internets did today, or internet-related. ZTO fell below a buy point. Alibaba came back. And again, you need to take a look at how sectors and the market, not just how the market's moving, but how sectors are moving. On a positive side on that is that a lot of retail stocks are performing well. Today, Lululemon got an analyst upgrade, or actually analyst initiation. Basically saying that Lululemon's going to have big market share gains in a lot of area, from menswear to digital to China. And Lululemon is back in a buy zone. It's one of those that's been one of the old leaders that didn't break down. It's holding up fairly well.
I have really little to add. And you put it really, really well, very succinctly, other than the fact that this is a company that has a clear vision about the future. Excellent management, from what I can tell, based on what I've listened to on conference calls. Please check out our in-depth articles by the likes from our news team at investors.com. They've really covered this story very well.
And you were mentioning earlier that a lot of other retailers are performing well. Burlington stores.
Yes.
Dollar General was stock of the day today. There's some other names that you wanted to talk about?
Absolutely. Just real quickly, well, if you look at the earnings per share rating only, the IBD proprietary rating for earnings growth, so Lulu is top notch at 96, but you mentioned Burlington. Burlington stores at 94. And in the same retail apparel and shoes group, Boot Barn, which is a lot smaller company, actually has nice earnings to boot, so to speak, 91 EPS.
And meanwhile, another stock that's not performing as well, though it is technically near a buy point, Nike has earnings tomorrow night.
Oh, yes.
So that'll be interesting, not just for Nike, but it is a rival to Lululemon. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But that'll be a lot of things going forward. But meanwhile, just before we go, I want to remind everyone that we are going to have another investing strategies video dropping tonight with Alyssa Coram. Alyssa Coram is joined today by an Adobe executive, as well as our very own Justin Nielsen.
Excellent.
So that should be really good. So check that out tonight. You can see it at investors.com/investing strategies. Meanwhile, you can always catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. David and I are actually fairly active on Twitter. David actually has a fair lot of useful things to say, whereas I tend to ramble on about Star Wars and other things. But in any case,
more than Star Wars, Ed. You cover the gamut really, really well. So please check out both our tweets as well as at investors.com. And thanks very much for listening in.
Thank you very much.